welcome to the Bella Vista Radio Club's February 2020 virtual meeting. My name is Tom. My call sign is Whiskey 5 X-Ray November Alpha W5XNA, and I am the current president of the Bella Vista Radio Club. Thanks for joining us tonight. I hope that you and your family are healthy and doing well. And unfortunately, there is still no timeline for resuming on-site meetings, and we will do so only when it is safe and in conformance with the state's guidelines. However, the good news is we have VE testing that has resumed. It's at a new location. Thanks to Ryan Wolf, KE0CZQ, we will be testing at the Harps Food Store's corporate office, which is located at 918 Gutensohn Road in Springdale, at 2 p.m. on the second Saturday of each month. The testing session for February will be February 13th. And a note from Don Cooper, KC7DC, who is our Bella Vista Radio Club's licensed testing coordinator. He says, due to the current COVID-19 restrictions, we have to limit the number of people in the exam room at a time. So we are requesting that folks register in advance so we know how many to expect. He says he's already gotten a lot of registrations for that session, and so it looks like we may need to have some folks wait in their cars while we test others. However, be assured we will test everyone who shows up. If you plan on attending our February 13th session, please let me or Don know, and we'll get you added to the list. Also, we might be looking at a particular venue for a technician class that would allow for social distancing and conform to our state's guidelines. But it is in the very initial talking stages. But we're hoping that that will be able to come about sometime this spring. And we're making every effort to have another class. In addition, we received a message from the NWALinkSys.org, and the message reads, the Northwest Arkansas link system is permanently off the air. This was due to misuse and abuse of the system by kerchunkers. Therefore, the information on this website is for historical purposes only. Some of the affiliate repeaters are still more than likely to be on the air. The trustees wish the best of luck and thank the faithful users of the system over the years. And on behalf of the Bella Vista Radio Club and radio amateurs all over the Northwest Arkansas region, I want to thank Tim Moore and 5KWL for all the work, expense, sacrifice, time, effort that he put in to making that link system a reality, keeping it up, and allowing us the luxury of having a good communication system in our region. Now, due to this information, BVRC had to find another means of continuing with the 9 p.m. Wednesday evening net. And thanks to the kind offer and generous offer of John Williams K5 DVT, we will be able to continue the Wednesday night tradition of meeting on the air at 2100 hours local time using his Skywarn repeaters. Information on accessing the repeaters. The information is the Fayetteville repeater with a receiver in Springdale is 147.315 with a tone of 97.4. And the Green Forest repeater is 145.310 with a tone of 103.5. Thanks, John. We really appreciate bailing us out. Thanks. I would like to welcome the newest members of BVRC, Richard Weinberg, Kilo 5, Lima Lima X-Ray, Terry Grove, Whiskey Bravo 0, November Bravo Juliet, Ryan Wolf, Kilo Echo 0, Charlie Zulu Quebec, Zachary Wolf, Kilo Echo 0, Charlie Zulu Papa, Stacy McCullough, Kilo India 5, Lima X-Ray Charlie, and Bob Moore, who joined the club, and he is studying for his tech license, and we wish him all the best. And that makes 130 members to date. And I would also like to congratulate Daryl Johnson, Kilo India 5, November Delta Juliet, who passed his technician class license in January. And I sent an email out to him and got a response. And he said that he's going to be at the February 13th session testing for his general. And he did very well on the tech license, so I think he's going to do just fine. And I want to congratulate Rob Schertzer for upgrading to general class. So it was a good session in January. Tonight we have one presentation. Bell Vista Radio Club has a weekly Saturday breakfast beginning at 8 a.m. at Rosita's Mexican Restaurant, which is just across the border in Missouri, Pineville, Missouri. And Rick, KG5, MWG, and John Hansen, AB5UN, are regular attendees. And after a recent breakfast, Rick was able to get together with John and record John's bio. John has led a fascinating life, as you will learn this evening. My thanks to Rick, John, and for Wayne Patton, Kilo 5 Uniform November X-Ray, for putting these monthly videos together and getting them on the air. Now it's time for the presentation. Please use the chat box and let us know you're here. Your comments are welcomed and encouraged. Again, thanks for being here this evening.
Hello folks, my name is John Hansen. I'm in my 90s. I hope I speak distinctly so it's recording properly. I'm a retired telephone man, so here's a telephone picture I've got up here. A pole climber, which I did back in the 1947. So that's about how old that is. I was a district manager for Illinois Bell, and then went into AT&T.
You actually climbed the poles?
Climbed the poles, many years of that.
Wow.
Then they sent me to all kinds of schools for AT&T, and I'm going to show you a lot of certificates that I received, not only from AT&T, but from other sources that I got worked on during my lifetime. I got certificates here from a life giver for John Hansen for gallons of blood that I used to give. I was scheduled for that all the time. Up on the top up here is from the Chicago Bulls, which I used to go to the Chicago Stadium in Chicago many a times. My dad, when I was a kid, used to take us there. That's where they held all the circuses, and then they use it for basketball games and other various events. But there's pictures of Michael Jordan on here on the wall that I've saved. Below that, there's a Medina Temple, which I belonged to for over 50 years. And for them, I was a clown in the clown group in Chicago, as well as here in Arkansas. Walked up and down many of the main streets in the major cities in Arkansas when they had parades. Down on the bottom here is for the presidents. Quite a few of them have passed away then here. Can't see them too well myself.
Clinton, Bush, Reagan, and Carter.
There you go. There's 4 of them on there. Moving up the wall here is the certificate I received from
Lodge.
Yeah, for Lodge in Bentonville, for a lifetime member. There's more lifetime members for the Scottish Rite, Down here, I went to a school for data communications for 3 months there, and got a certificate. That school for data communications was at Iowa State University. Above that is a photograph when I went into the Army Air Corps. It was the Army Air Corps. It wasn't United States Air Force at the time in 1947, and that was the wing I was put into. Above that is a certificate from the Bell System for the Data Communications Training School, and that was in Cooperstown, New York. I stayed there for 3 months at the Otesaga Hotel, major hotel in upstate New York. Next here, we're getting a little better light here. This is a photograph of Grant Park with all the aircraft, old type aircraft flying. That's an actual photograph that was given to me by a good flying friend of mine. Over here is a organization I belong to. It's the American Institute of Electrical Engineers. After I got my degree from Chicago, I got into that organization. This is a certificate from Network Operations in Illinois Bell. That has to do with network operations, all the central office equipment, number 5 crossbar, and electronic switching equipment that switches your telephone calls throughout any central office you see. They're multi-story buildings of them. In Chicago, I was a district manager there for Illinois Bell, and I had all the telephones in the Chicago Loop. If you're familiar with the Loop is called the Loop because the elevated goes all the way around the Loop, and there's thousands of telephone lines in there, primarily business. And I had all the central offices there at Canal, 10 South Canal Street, and then on Dearborn in Washington. Up here is my discharge. Thank God I got out of the Air Force after 4 years there. I served time in Roswell, New Mexico for a few months. Then they sent me to Japan. From Japan they sent me to Germany, and I was in Japan for about 6 months. Never got to fly there, even though I had my pilot's license, which I'll show you in a minute. And next over here is my various pilot's license, and I lost it when I got diabetes. They detected diabetes in me. That's my commercial pilot's license up here with instrument rated, and below that is an instructor's license, which I taught a lot of people how to fly airplanes, anywhere from 68, 69, 70, up until I retired, or before I retired, in 1992, I retired. I lost my medical, and once a pilot loses his medical examination, he can no longer fly an airplane by himself. You lose all that experience and training and education you got. So I retired. Below that is my amateur radio, extra class radio operator's license. And they used to give that. It says Hammond up here, and it's got signatures on there. Below that is volunteer examiner certificates I got from ARRL, showing me as a guy that can give examinations. And in those years, that was before 2007, I think they stopped examining you for Morse code, but we used to have to get 20 words a minute. You started out with low speed, and you got a tech license, and then you had to build your speed up to 20 words a minute, and I missed the exam once. So I had to go back, brush myself up, and go to higher speed stuff, and I finally got my license to operate as an extra class, and here's my current license for an extra class amateur radio. I think it's good through 2004 or 14. I'm sorry, 14. I got it in 4 and it's good for till 14. It's a 10-year license. On top up here, I got certificates for being a registered pharmacist in Illinois. It's before I started going into electrical engineering. I don't know if I showed you this one or not, the Chicago Tech, that was my degree from Chicago Tech College in Chicago. I went there for 5 years. Worked nights, went to school during the daytime. And I very seldom slept, by the way. I had to sleep on the job working nights. But down below that is other certificates that I received for training in different things from United States Department of Commerce. There's some boating. I took a lot of boating courses. Down here you'll see all the boating signals that we had to know those when you went out in Lake Michigan, which I had a 40-foot boat with the twin V8 engines in them, Chryslers, and a Kohler generator between the two V8s, and I used to maintain those myself. These are just pictures of a clown. A good friend of mine painted this for me. He thought I was a clown at that time, so it does kind of resemble me a little bit. But moving over to the left, there's a certificate I got from the Air Force when I was in the Air Force from 47 to 1951. I definitely wouldn't get married if I was in the service, which I didn't, because I was moving around too much. Above that is my telephone Pioneer plate that I used to carry on my car. They're not available anymore. It's a collector's item. In my basement here where we're at now, there's switches here for a power generator I have in the other room. We push outside, and I throw a switch down here to pick up the power from the generator, and then this box is fused over or wired over to my regular fuse panel for certain critical circuits throughout the house, like in the kitchen. Anything that's got a freezer on it for your frozen foods and everything. That's in this.
So those are fuses we're looking at?
Yeah, these are the circuit breakers.
Oh, you said they're fuses?
Yeah, the circuit breaker is like a
Oh,
fuse,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I call them
I'm just
fuses.
ribbing you a little.
Yeah. Okay. That's a 20 amp stuff in
200
there. Yeah. Now, moving down, I have a handicapped granddaughter. She can't stand. She used to sit here in her wheelchair and draw things on a chalkboard for me. Above that, I got certificates from Illinois Bell. Kind of hard to read, but this is an interesting one I'm pointing to right now. I rode those streetcars in Chicago during the 1930s through the 40s until I got into the Air Force. But there's an old Chicago streetcar, easy to get on and sneak past the ticket taker where I didn't have to pay. I'd always say, my dad's got my fare, he's in back of me. And that's a newer type there, and up above that is a picture when I was manager in Chicago, and a good friend of mine, we were at a conference in Chicago. Above that, I got certificates for being an attaboy. That's a good boy doing everything they tell you. In my career with over 34 years, they moved me about four or five times throughout different places in the United States. Went up into New York. I was there. I worked at Bell Labs, Murray Hill, Homedale, New Jersey, Whippany, and in Illinois. On the far west side, there's an electronic switching laboratory where they developed the electronic switching system. They called it ESS. Number 5 crossbar is loaded all over in Chicago area and major cities. That's a crossbar switching, electromechanical. Moving over in this direction here, I'm kind of getting ready to move here, but this is where I kept books and everything. This is my computer, which has got a lot of ham radio information, and I use this to learn Morse code. So anybody can learn it with a computer, because you put it in there and listen to it, and then you have to copy down and read what you heard over the different recordings that I had. Moving right around here is all kinds of equipment. This is a Radio Shack amplifier, voice amplifier. And there's another one over on the other side. That was the first one I had. There's one over here, and these are the speakers. There's two of them, one there and one over on your left, Rick. There you go. And I used to sit here, and I had all kinds of tapes I used to play, and while I wasn't operating the radio, I was doing other things down here in the basement, which we'll be showing you. But there's on the wall that Rick is going to show you right now. This is one of my first call signs I got. Now I am AB5UN, Alpha Bravo 5 Uniform November. And that's what I answer to. That's my extra class license. You used to have a 24-hour day clock, but I learned that in the military. That's how you told time in the military, on a 24-hour clock, not on a clock of this kind. Below that is just photographs and 1010 cards. Many of you hams have 1010 cards. I had tons of them, and that's what I got left of my collection.
Why do they call them 1010 cards?
I have no idea, Rick.
Now they call them QSL cards?
Oh, yeah, okay. But we call them 1010s.
Is that have to do with the signal strength you're hearing or anything like that?
No. Up on this wall, if you take a shot of this.
Hold on a second.
Okay, Rick.
Let me do a review of this.
He took a picture. That's my wife, my son, and my grandson when he went into the military.
What year was that?
That has to be 15, 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Up above this desk, there's aeronautical charts from my flying years. I started flying before I went into the military service. I had my pilot's license through the Civil Aeronautics Board, and then the FAA came in and they took over the whole thing. It was issued new license and everything. But up in here is Lake Michigan, and I used to live in this area, flew all over in this particular area, and that just shows you what they call VORs. These big circles are VORs, which was your highways in the sky. That's what a VOR really is. And you go by the compass, a regular compass, and then you had a altitude meter and all the other gadgets in the airplane to tell you where you are. You always have to know who you are, and where you're going, or what do you want. Three very important things when you're flying an airplane and getting on the radio. If you turn around this way, Rick, on this wall, lighting may be a little bit poor, but on this wall is caps. What guy doesn't have a lot of caps? With one head, you have all these caps hanging all over from different things that I got involved in various locations in the United States. Just below the caps is a big table. He'll be showing you that in a minute. Watch you don't stumble there.
Yeah.
Okay. This is my electrical workbench. I used to do all kinds of my electrical work. I had a different light up here, but I can flip it on for you, Rick. Just a minute. There, get an idea what it looks like.
That's a little better.
With all kind of simple stuff, mainly telephone stuff in here.
What's that orange thing?
Oh, some of you know what this is. This is what they call a Badinsky. It's just a hand telephone I used when I was first starting with the phone company. Has a dial on it, regular dial telephone. And how many of you know which letter is missing?
Quebec.
That's right. Rick knows it because I showed him this well. But there's no letters on a rotary dial telephone by 1 and 0. There's no alpha letters in there. Got different kinds of test equipment on here. You want to locate a wire in your house, you put that by your wire, and this you hook on the wire, I don't care how far away you are, and that will put a tone on that wire, and you go and look for it, and it will come up on this device here, and you can find out which pair of wires, because wires, you had half duplex, which is 2 wires, full duplex is 4 wires.
Could you also detect if there was an open in that wire somewhere using that?
Yes. Yes, if there was an open and you went through the whole cable, there might be 2,100 pairs of wires in that cable. And if it was open, you wouldn't pick up a tone on the other end. you'd only be looking for the pair of wires in a group of 2100. There was a color code in there. Some of you know the black-brown color code. There's a different way that I remember it, which I don't want to record right now.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but there is a different way we used to know the color code of the cable, so we knew what bundle.
2100 pairs, how many different color code combinations?
There's
all different?
10 colors you used, only 10, and the multiples of those you could, that's how you got up to 2,100 pairs. The cable was about, I'll say 3 to 4 inches in diameter, full of these wires. If you ever went into the central office, you'd see many of these cables that big on verticals that had protectors on it for lightning protection. If they hit the cable on the outside, those protectors would bleed that current and everything off in the central office, of that lightning or current could not get into the telephone office.
And burn the whole cable up.
Burn everything up. Burn everything up. That was the protection you have. Moving around, there's not much else I got in back of me here, but this is just my freezer. More caps. I got things wired in this house. I didn't show one to Rick here because it's a mess, where this whole house is wired in every room with video cable and regular house pair cables for your telephone. It's a pair of wires, and every room has got 1 or 2 outlets in it. So any room you go into, you can plug a telephone into it. Okay? This furnace I got on here has got a rectifier here, and down below on the floor it's a gas detector for LP gas. If the furnace LP leaks in here, which it did about a year ago, it really can stink up and blow up your house if you don't take care of it immediately. Very important thing to have in a home. And the furnace is LP gas, and the hot water heater is LP gas. That about fixes it for here. If you want to follow me into the other room. Now we're just in the other end of the basement down here where I do my, there's a wood pile because I have 2 fireplaces in this home. Big one downstairs, which is ducted throughout this whole house, so when the downstairs fireplace is running, I don't have to burn LP gas. I'm getting beautiful heat from wood that you buy any place in Arkansas. The upstairs is, I buy commercial type logs for that, and I don't, it cuts out all the ash. Wood will give you smoke smell in the house if you're near the fireplace, but not throughout the whole house. It's all filtered. But this is just all of my various equipment, nuts, bolts, screws, you name it, it's there. Down below is more stuff I fiddled around with, painting stuff I have here, more tools here. You have to have a lot of tools, and all guys like to have tools in their collection to work on different things.
Gotcha.
But this is just things I have on back of you, Rick. It's just storage. I have to have big vacuums down here. I use a lot of LP gas. I got a tank on the floor. Over in that corner is that generator that I might have mentioned in the other room. So this house is equipped with a generator, a 6 kilowatt generator, I think it is, that generates the power. Now I wheel this out this door. It's on your left, Rick. Go to your left. Yeah. I wheel it outside this door so no smoke, noise, or anything else gets into the house. Now that's the outside. The generator sits here. I plugged this into the generator, and back at that panel I showed you a little while ago is the control panel, which I can cut off the commercial power to the house and run the house on generated power that I generate myself.
Well, I see you have pretty big wheels on that cart for the generator. That's a good idea.
Those are extra heavy wheels because
Right.
this generator is extremely heavy. Here, I'll pull this up. You can see the back side of it. This generator here, I took out of a crashed RV. It was a big crash, and the guy that crashed it didn't know what to do. And then I said, I can use that, like any other ham guy that sees wire or something. I said, I can use that. How much you want for it? And I bought it, I think $300 or $400. Got a whole damn generator. It runs on battery. I got a float charge on the battery, so anytime I want to use it, it starts. That's a good, nice generator. I think, forgot who made that. I think it was, I don't know. I won't say. I think it's Chrysler, Kohler, some manufacturer.
All right, so
But-
we're done down here.
Yeah. Rick, point out that way. They can see that I'm right near the water. That's Lake Loch Lomond in Bella Vista, Arkansas. And there's the two lights down at the water line. My dock is down there. There's stairwells going down. And I had a pontoon boat, an 18-foot speedboat with a 100-horse motor, a sailboat, sunfish sailboat on there, and a little fishing boat. But I had to get rid of all of that. When you're in 90s, you can't even make it up and down the hill anymore. But that gives you an idea. My neighbor here, Bud, he passed away, and an accident happened in Fayetteville out at the lake. And he fell in the water and drowned. It was around Christmas time. But he and I have been friends for over 30 years.
What was his name?
Pardon?
What's his name?
Davis, Bud Davis. Bud Davis, excellent person. He was an insurance company man, retired. If you turn around and back here, Rick, you can get a shot of the porch just where the sun's getting in there. But we have a porch downstairs that we used to sit on and entertain down here. I got it way in the back is a hot tub we used all the time, but I can't even get it in and out of the hot tub. But there's a stairwell there going up to the upstairs porch, which is half open and half of it's enclosed upstairs.
Is there a name to this inlet?
Say again?
Is there a name for this inlet?
No, this is all Lake Loch Lomond, and it's about, I'll say, 4 to 5 miles long, and the widest spot is right out here across from me. And this is just an inlet, and there's about a half a dozen of these inlets on Lake Loch Lomond.
And the dam is how far up?
The dam is about 1.5 miles to 2 miles up in that direction, and then the lake extends all the way down. Rick is turning the camera to the right. It goes way back down that way, about another 3-4 miles.
You're not worried about any of these trees falling on your house?
Oh, when I bought this property, it was loaded with trees like that. I had to have them all cut down so we could put the house in here.
I tell you what, some hams would look at that and said, that'd be a good place to anchor my antenna.
You bet, you bet. Yeah, there's a lot of, and when we came and bought the property, those trees were only about 10 to 15 foot high.
That was in when?
We bought this property in 1984, I'm going to say, and then we went traveling for 4 to 5 years in an RV all over the United States, Canada, all the way down into Mexico City. My wife and I used to enjoy traveling. A lot of RVing, a lot of RVing. Had a fifth wheel, 36-foot fifth wheel in a 1-ton dually crew cab truck, F350 they call it, Fords. But that pulled us, I think I put about 60,000 miles on that thing, just traveling all over the United States and Canada.
How many gallons per mile did you get on that?
When I was pulling the trailer, I was down to about 6 to 8 miles a gallon.
That's still pretty good.
And when I wasn't pulling, I was getting around, I'd say, but that's not so bad.
Nope.
My boat that I had in Lake Michigan, I had twin engines in that, and I got 3/4 of a mile per gallon of gas. I carried 180 gallons of gas on that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 40-foot boat, all steel with a big fly bridge on it.
Okay, we're going upstairs now?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, that tower is a 20, 40 foot. And what I had on top of there is a beam, 10, 15, 20 meter beam on top of there with a ham 4 rotor. What's up there now is just my television antenna. When I got rid of all my equipment, radio, ham radio, my son's got all that up in South Dakota. But I could sit there downstairs where we were and rotate that beam all the way around, pick up everything south, north, east, west from here, because we're up about, I'll say 30 to 40 feet off the water line on the lake, Lake Loch Lomond. Okay, I'll show you what I got in the base of this here. Tower here, it's a crank up. There's a crank and everything right here. I can crank it up and down. This bush keeps growing this big every year, and I keep cutting it down, but it grows back on me.
What's the maximum height when it's cranked
This
up?
is 20-foot sections, or yeah, 20-foot sections, 40 foot up. There's 2 sections to it with a crank up. Right here. The base of it, you can see down here, this is all poured concrete, and that goes down. It goes back in those leaves a little bit, and it goes down a good 4 foot into the earth. On the top of the upper section of the tower, I have it guide to the house itself. But being on this Rome tower, it hasn't moved in since 1990-91 when I put it in.
You have a ground rod over there?
Yeah, there's a ground rod here somewhere. Yeah,
to your left. See it?
Oh yeah, right here. There's a ground rod, and I also have ground cables coming up, tied onto things here. And if you turn around, Rick, I showed you where all the entrance cables, they just ran down the hill to that. You can see it down there.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the hole was coming into my radio shack.
You got a ground cable going from there to there?
Ground cables there, yes. And also,
right there.
yeah, and also the house is all copper, copper pipe. The whole house is copper pipe, and copper pipe buried all the way up to the city water line. And my ground is connected onto that too. So that's all underground. It goes down about, the trench is around 3 foot deep, all the way up to the road.
Oh, that's good. We're done out here?
Yes. Okay, now we're upstairs where I usually sit all day, watch TV, and listen to my 2 meter, 147, 255 is the frequency here in Bella Vista. Down here is the 2 meter radio. That's a, as you can see in a book I'm holding, a Yaesu FTM 3200 DRDE. I got that about, a year ago. The radio in my car is a good 10, 15 years old, and I got it fixed, so I use that in my car for driving around.
What kind of model you had in your car?
On what?
What model of radio do you have in your car?
Same thing, but
okay,
it's a Yaesu like that, but an older model, much older model. Yeah.
And your
Okay.
antenna is out here.
Yeah, you can go around, outside, and you can show them that antenna is just wired through the under the window and out onto the porch and fastened on a chair. And from there I reach the repeater, which is about 3 to 4 air miles from here.
You know what direction?
Direction, in that direction. That would be northeast.
I got a compass on my phone here if you need to ever check that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's northeast. Direct north is out the
I
back
mean,
window.
as an old aviation guy like you would never say northeast. You would say bearing 255 or something.
I know that, but I said it that
not
way.
255. That'd be
I said
west.
it that way, Rick, so you would understand it.
Thanks a lot. I'm a beginner. You're right. Well,
Yeah.
this is all you have left of all of your radio equipment you used to have.
Yeah, upstairs here. And from this vantage point, we're a good, I'd say, 30 feet up in the air right here from the lake itself. And from this vantage point, I can go northeast, swing all the way around to northwest for weather reports that usually come in from the southwest, in that direction, southwest, and all the way around to northeast. And I could sit here and give all kinds of cloud formations, rotations in clouds, whether it looked like a heavy storm cloud, and even approximate altitude.
Okay, John. Well,
And
thank you very much.
I used to fly through that stuff, but when I was piloting, it didn't bother me a bit. But my wife used to just get excited. She was a white knuckle flyer with me, and she'd put up with me and start talking to me, and I abruptly I'd have to say, "Shut up, I've got headsets on and I'm trying to listen to the FAA."
Yeah,
But,
even in lightning, you'd go through that.
Yeah, had a lot of fun flying with her, a lot of fun. Flew all over the United States and Arkansas and all through up into Wisconsin and Michigan. I did a lot of flying, and most of it was night flying because I worked for AT&T during the day. So I'd have something to do tonight rather than sleep. Okay?
Any final comments you'd like to give? Any advice to the rest of us club members?
Try and live a life like I did. Have a woman that'll put up with you. That's the main thing. And enjoy life as much as you can. And I can remember things all the way back in the mid-30s. And I was born in 1930, August of 1930. So I got a lot of memories up in this skull of mine.
Well, John, thanks for this visual QSO, Alpha Bravo 5, Uniform November. This is Kilo Golf 5, Mike Whiskey Golf 73.
73s.
Well, we're back, and I hope you found the information that was presented earlier helpful and informative, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation as much as I did. And I want to thank you for being a participant as well. And your comments, questions, and suggestions are always welcomed and encouraged, and please address these to info@BellaVistaRadioClub.org. Also, for more information on the Bella Vista Radio Club, visit our website at BellaVistaRadioClub.org. We invite you to be a member of the largest amateur radio club in the Northwest Arkansas region. And please know that we exist to serve the amateur radio community, and that means you. 73, stay safe and healthy, and on the air, good evening from W5XNA.